help them win that case ultimately at this San Francisco law school. But what's going to happen now is that policy, the so-called all-comers policy, you're going to see that replicated on a lot of these public law schools around the country, public colleges around the country. And possibly it's going to go down and trickle down to the high school, so it'll affect Fellowship of Christian Athletes and others, where you have these student organizations on the high school, maybe even middle school level, all the way up to the college and graduate school level. Those policies are going to be applied across the board. And what we're going to see are battles trying to prove in each one of these situations on every one of these campuses that they're not equally applying the law, but they're unequally applying it only to the Christian clubs.
Well, Matt, let's take it up to a 30,000-foot level here. Doesn't this ruling set in place, unfortunately, bad law, I think, to the point where we can see this trickling into, or really rushing in as a wave into other areas where people are expected to have their First Amendment guaranteed rights to freedom of religious expression, such as a school.
Yeah, it really is.
University, can't they use this ruling?
For example, the Supreme Court had a previous case, and it was involving a parade. It was a parade on what's called a public forum in New York City. And it was a St. Patrick's parade, privately sponsored on public property, a traditional public forum, which was a street. A homosexual group wanted to be a part of the parade, and the Supreme Court said no. That would be infringing on the private organization's freedom of speech. Well, here you've got a public forum. It's not what's called a traditional public forum because it's not a street, sidewalk, or park. You've got a public facility that they actually open up as a forum, and now they're putting certain restrictions on it. So if you want to use this forum, they're saying you have to allow these kinds of things into your groups. Well, that is going to have a huge impact on freedom of speech because it's going to intrude on these individual groups and particularly Christian organizations. In reality, what you might ultimately find is this all-comers policy being applied across the board. Probably you're not going to have Democrats wanting to join the Republican group, even though they could.
Right.
Probably you're not going to have Republicans wanting to join the Democrats, even though they could. Probably you're not going to have Caucasians wanting to infiltrate the La Raza group, even though they could. But what you will have are activist homosexuals wanting to infiltrate the Christian organizations to take them over and redirect their mission. That's what you ultimately have. You may have an equal application, but in reality, these other people are not using it, but the homosexual organizations and people, they will use it, and they will infiltrate the Christian clubs.
Well, Matt, Justice Samuel Alito wrote a scathing dissent, castigating the majority on this, and I'll be quick here. He said, quote, "The proudest boast of our free speech jurisprudence is that we protect the freedom to express the thought that we hate," he wrote. "Today's decision rests on a very different principle, no freedom for expression that offends prevailing standards of political correctness in our country's institutions of higher learning." Boy, and aren't we seeing a trend where the courts are putting political correctness before a strict constitutional interpretation?
Yeah, there's no question that that's what we're seeing. That's a serious threat to our freedom. That's why it's important, people, when you go to the polls and you vote for a president. Because when people went to the polls in 2008, they got a president by the name of Barack Obama. They got a president who will appoint and is appointing people who have political agendas, and they're not going to respect your individual liberties. That's why it's important in November and every time you have an opportunity to vote your Christian values. Go to Liberty Counsel's website for more information on what pastors and churches can do with regards to political activity. We have some information right there on the website. You can also call 800-671-1776 to ask for our DVD regarding pastors, churches, and political activity. And you can also get some free handouts as well. Make sure you sign up for the Liberty Alert. That's an email. And also right there on the web page as well, you can sign up for the Liberty Action email. And that's going to be an email that will keep you actively involved so that your voice can be heard on all of these important issues in our nation's capital. Go to Liberty Counsel's website, lc.org. Sign up for both of those emails. One is more informational and one is action-oriented. And now, more than ever, it's time to take action to reclaim America. Go to Liberty Counsel's website today, lc.org.
You have been listening to Matt Staver of Liberty Counsel. Our hope is to encourage and inspire you to stand up for your faith, family, and freedoms. We can accomplish a lot when we work together. Get informed and get involved today. Sign up for our free monthly newsletter, The Liberator. We will send it out to you free of charge. Stay informed with our Liberty Alert email update. Just click on the website at www.lc.org or call us at 1-800-671-1776. Tune in next time to learn more about your rights right here on Faith and Freedom.